What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about buyers, all thing how to get a buyer, how to treat a buyer, how to work with a buyer, and how to convert that buyer into a closing. So I'm going to jump right in and share my screen. So this is day 5, and let's talk about buyers. So I stuck this in. If you're buying a home, you need something like this. First step, if you're going to want to work with buyers, is a little one-page flyer that shows that you help buyers, that you're a professional. One little paragraph and a picture of you. So I come back to this sheet a lot during these classes. This is such important, guys, that you have access to this. If we closed a house at Next Home, those leads came from somewhere, and it's somewhere on this list. So out of the 200 and something houses last year that we closed, it came from somewhere on this list. So you can always look at this list, and we've went over which ones some of the highest ones, and so which other ones were ones that not so high. So be sure to refer back to that list when you are feeling like, hey, where can I get some leads? So let's talk about the pros of buyers, the cons of buyers and pros of buyers. There's pros and cons. One, it's very satisfying to help someone buy a house, especially if it's a dream house of theirs or their first time home buyer. Either way, it's very satisfying. They're happy. They're getting something new. It's a new toy. How cool is that? So the friendships that will develop by helping somebody buy a home, you're going to spend a lot of time with these people. You're going to look at houses, be on the phone, going over inspections, a lot of highs and lows, especially if the deal almost falls apart. You're talking with that person, you're crying with that person. You just form a bond with a lot of the buyers that you work with. To me, that's a huge pro. Number 3 is repeat. One day these guys will be sellers. Usually when you're helping somebody buy a home, during that transaction, they're going to tell you about how long they're going to stay in that house. And hopefully they'll use you to sell if you did a good job helping them buy. All you got to do is take notes and keep in touch with this person. So we'll go over that, but repeat business, huge pro of a buyer. Referrals, once you help a buyer, whether they're your friend, relative, or whatever, they are your best sources of referrals because they've used you, they've tried you out. Cons of buyers. Number 1 is loyalty. Very few agents use a buyer agency agreement, and not a lot of people understand how agents get paid. So they're comfortable calling and somebody and say, hey, show me this house, and never call them again, just wasting half of your day. A seller's not like that. If you get a contract to sell a house, you got it for how long that contract says. You know that loyalty really doesn't matter. You just have to do a good job and not get fired. So loyalty is different with the buyer. Make sure that you just kind of know that's the reason a lot of your top agents don't really fool with buyers. Their goal is just to get listings. They're easier and less chance of losing them. Number 2, it's a lot of time and work. Sometimes a buyer will buy the first house they look at, but sometimes not. Sometimes maybe a buyer looks at houses for 6 months and you lose money per hour by helping that person. That happens a lot. Uh, Number 3, not concrete. Sometimes a buyer will just change their mind. They'll look at 10 houses, say the time's not right, interest rates up, whatever. A seller, there again, not so much. With the houses on the market, it's on the market. Sometimes the day before the closing, the buyer can say, man, this is the payment's just too much, and they'll back out. A seller, that hardly ever happens because uh, they're contractually obligated. It's hard for a seller to get out of a contract. A buyer, it just seems like you can't go force a buyer to come to closing, or a seller. You can sue them pretty quick. All right. Number 4, for sale by owner, new construction. You can lose a buyer quick to a non-commission paying seller. You don't want to get in the way of somebody buying their dream home. And if you show somebody 6, 7, 8, 20 homes, and then all of a sudden you quit hearing from them and you see them close on a new construction home, you know what happened. There's not much you can do unless you have that buyer agency agreement filled out. So before you know how to win a buyer over, you have to know a little bit about what a buyer wants. ABR taught us a buyer wants help finding that perfect home. So remember, you're not selling the homes, you're selling yourself to be able to find the perfect home. Most buyers want that. They feel like they can negotiate or write a contract, but finding that home, there's so many websites, and one says pending, one says sold. It's confusing. Every realtor does it different. So make sure you spell out how you're doing it. Your systems, you're selling how you will take them through that process. Having your procedures to set up utilities, having to-do lists set up weekly. Your systems and procedures are part of what you are actually selling. That's the things that you can brag and boast about. Your knowledge, just like any other agent, you're selling your knowledge of the business. You know the best lenders, inspectors, roofers, closing attorneys. You know the city inspectors, all the HOA people, all that stuff you are selling, and you need to let people know that you have this, that you have these tools, or they just won't know. So when I'm meeting with a buyer, these are going to be 10 questions that I want to find out sooner rather than later. So when I get somebody on the phone, I know I've got these 10 questions. No, I'm not going to just say, "Hey, I got 10 questions I'm going to ask you." He may spill the beans without me having to ask. But I know at some point I want to ask these questions. So I'll know if I want to work with this person and we can move on with this process. What area would you like to live in? That's a big deal. I may not want to drive too far. School zone. I need to know that if there's something you prefer. How big of a house? This is important. Do you have any must-haves? Do you have a lender? What's your monthly payment range? What's your overall budget? When's the best time to look at houses? Do you have a home to sell? And when do you want to move? So if somebody calls and says they want to move in 2 weeks with a budget of 100,000 and they want to live in Brandon, I know we've got a problem if they've not even talked to a lender. I may not want to. I may want to tell that person, "Stop, back up. We've got to figure out the process here." So remember this: the best way to gather that information that we just saw we needed. Remember, we need to know the answer to these questions. These are the 8 ways to communicate with people in order of effectiveness. The best way is face to face. That's why Zillow preaches, Zillow teaches. If you get a call wanting to see a house, just set up the appointment and go see it. Don't have to pre-qualify that client just to go see a house. Pretend that you are going on a buyer's consultation, and it's going to be your office is now that house that you're going to show. So in my mind, if this is my first meeting, I say, okay, let me reserve my office. I'm going to reserve my office for 15 to 30 minutes before my client is to arrive. This is not just an ordinary showing. That way I can get there early, make sure I open all the doors, everything's safe. I've got my escape plan if I need to use it. And I'm not going to lie, I might even bring my old 5-cell D mag light and stick it in a corner somewhere in case I need to bop somebody in the head. But point being, I want to get to the house, make sure it's safe. That way I can get comfortable, have my presentation ready to pitch when my client gets there. Can I pre-approve a buyer and give them my presentation and get them to sign a buyer's representation agreement over a phone call? I can. It's going to be a little harder. This person's probably going to want to know me. Can I do it over a text? That's even harder. So a face-to-face visit is always best on your first consultation with any buyer. That way you can figure out, you remember the lead life cycle here that we had talked about in week 2 or week 1? You need to know where this buyer is. Are they in their awareness phase? Are they in their buy side? Where are they at? Evaluation phase. So you will know how to help that person. So during your buyer's consultation, you want to find out a few things. One, what is the desire of this person? What do they want? Where do they want it? The more unsure they are, the more that'll help you determine what phase they're in. Because let's back up. If they're in the awareness phase, they probably don't know what they want. If they're past the research phase and on into the evaluation phase, well, this person pretty much has boiled it down to the neighborhood, the price range, the bed, bath, square footage. They know what they want. They've been researching. They've been they're past the number 2. So is this doable? And there again, if somebody's got $100,000 and that's it, and they want to move in 2 weeks and they want a 5-bedroom house, it may be tough and it not doable. So we want to do this DNA check and find out what their needs are. What do they actually need? Why are they moving? What was wrong with their old house? Find out that motivation for moving, and this will help you decide if you want to invest your time into working with this buyer. Because as I said before, on a con of a buyer, they can really eat up a lot of time. So you need to try to predict that. The ability to pay. Do not afraid to talk numbers, especially face to face. People kind of want that. They want you to be real with them. So go over the cost of buying a house. Your presentation after you've done that DNA check and you say, okay, all right, I feel like I want this guy. That's important to have your buyer's presentation in a format that you're comfortable going over. I could preach it to you and show you my presentation and say, guys, copy this. But no, I want you to be comfortable with it. If it's in a little a buyer's trifold pamphlet that just shows the process of listing a house and you're comfortable with just this, you don't need a book, that's fine, do it. But damn it, sit these people down and set expectations, because if you do not, they're going to go off their past experiences on how that happened or how they remember this happened or how their neighbor sold their house, and they're going to say this is how it should be. You have to set expectations. That's the number one goal in keeping somebody happy at the end of their transaction. So your goal of your buyer's presentation is to pre-qualify, to see if you want to work with, I'm not talking about with the lender, with you, to see if you want to invest your time with this person, to set a budget, to find the ideal areas. I can tell you stories all day long, but I don't want to waste everybody's time. But I did. I took a buyer from an open house, and it was a woman and her daughter that were looking at houses. It took me 8 months and about 100 houses to realize it was just their hobby to look at houses on the weekends because they had nothing else to do. They like looking at new construction. We saw everything. Gave me a lot of experience. I knew everything on the market, but they still never bought a house. Step 2 is to home shop. Look at what's active and then start searching your network. So if you're going to talk to your buyer, say, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to set you up a home search. You're going to see everything active fitting the description of what you want. After you look those over, I'm going to search my network and find you some more houses off the market. We're going to negotiate you a contract after you find the right house, work out all the contingencies, and make sure all the expectations were met and close on a home. So That is going to lead us into, I want to show you a copy of my presentation. And this will give you a good idea of how to pitch a presentation and how to word these things out. So first step, it's just going to be a little introduction about me. I've been trained to have experience in lending, appraisals, construction. It really depends on how the market is at that time for you to really show your value. And in 2000 and late 2020 through 2022, we had a huge shortage of homes. And if you did find a home, it was hard to negotiate a winning offer. So the two strong points I would use at that point was I have a huge network. Remember, I just said we're going to search everything in MLS, and then I'm going to search my network of the off market. I got a huge network of off market homes. I'm constantly mining for off market homes to help my buyers. And I'm also constantly reaching out to every agent, and we get together and we meet and figure out what is winning on these contracts. I'm constantly on top of knowing what to put in my contracts to make them win. Our 10 quick questions that if we have not found the answer to and where we've gotten to the point here, we want to ask them now. So, hey guys, where do you want to live? Is there a school zone you want to live in? Okay, cool. What size is the house? So those are questions you want to ask somebody. We're going to home shop. I'm going to schedule all the showings as soon as possible to give the homeowners notice. Once you send me a few houses and we decide to go see them, I'm going to set up those times. I'll send them to you. We'll have a few minutes in each house. Let's just try to stay on schedule. That way we won't miss any houses because some of these are owner occupied. Let's watch what we say when we're in any house. You never know who's listening. We don't want to give away any negotiating power that we may have. Let's just assume we're being watched as soon as we and listened to when we pull up on the property. And just if you like it, don't like it, whatever, when we leave the house, shoot me on a call, we'll talk about it. So fees and inspections. How much does it cost to buy a house? Who pays for what? Termite inspection, the buyer or seller can usually pay for it. Depends on if the house has multiple offers or not. It's usually around $65 to $100. The home warranty. The home warranties kind of have a bad rap. Some people love them, some people hate them. The fact is they're about $500 to $650, and they're handy to have. Not saying they're just going to cover anything that goes wrong with your house, but if a major appliance goes out, it could pay for a good bit of it to be repaired. Let's try to get a seller to pitch one in if we can. Closing cost. It kind of depends on how many offers there are on the house. If there's no offers, I'll always ask for the seller to pay my closing cost. If there are offers, we may have to pay some of those. Home inspection. The buyer's going to almost always pay for this. It's around $300 to $600, depending on the size. You can come to the home inspection. The home inspector will go over everything that he found with that house, so you'll know exactly what you're buying when you move into it. The selling agent will pay all of my fees. I'm not going to ask you to come out of pocket to pay for my realtor fees. If we come across a for sale by owner or a new construction home and I can't negotiate my commission, then I'm not just going to say you're going to have to pay it. We'll figure something out. Utilities, the buyer usually pays the utility inspection fees. It's usually only about $100, but we will negotiate those repairs if any are needed at that time. So the big things that's going to happen is we're going to home shop. It's super fun. It's cool. Way it's going to work is I'll set your search up. You use whatever site you like using. If you like using Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever, but you send me what you like. I'll send you what I think you might like, and then let's just go check them out. Just let me know, screenshot them, whatever. Say, hey, Ryan, I'm free this day. I'll schedule those out and we'll go check them out. Once you find it, we'll inspect it, we'll appraise it just to make sure that we know exactly how much that house is worth. Once we inspect it, we'll know that everything's wrong with it. We'll have that pest inspection, the wood destroying insect report to make sure there's no termite damage or anything done. And then we'll walk through that house a few days before closing to make sure everything's done just like we expect it to. It's all about how we want that house move-in ready. Closing day, you're going to sign a few hundred papers, flex your risk. So first things first, let's find our budget. I like to work backwards so you don't become house poor. What is that check that you're comfortable right now every month for your mortgage? Let's not go over that amount that you're comfortable with. Let's communicate with your lender. Let him know, Mr. Lender, I don't want to go over $1,400 a month. Just be upfront and honest with him. I'll set you the collaboration email up. You just send me any of the house. Please communicate. I'm here for you. I can do my job better if I know what you want. So if you need anything at all, please reach out, text, call, email, whatever. I'm available. If I'm not, if I don't answer, I will return your call because you're going to be one of my top people on my radar for the next few months. We're going to work together to find you a house. I'm excited. So avoid any abnormal or large purchases. Just kind of keep credit cards as they are. When you call your lender, don't just do the online app. Go ahead and do the online app, followed up by a phone call. Introduce yourself. That will help a lot. Get him motivated to really help you out. Join the team. Let me know when you do so I can call him also. Once you get all of your application, make sure you're prompt on your documents when your lender asks for some. Usually when he's working on your file and he comes up to something that's missing, he's going to set your file to the side until you send that. It's not just working, it's stopped. So be sure you get those as soon as you can. So negotiation, we're going to try to find out that best closing date between the buyer and seller. Make sure when we're looking at homes that we think of the small things that normally don't come with a house, such as a mini fridge, or fridge, washers and dryer, lawn equipment. We're going to negotiate for a clean home with a yard cut at closing. We want your house to be move-in ready. We're going to communicate with your lender. We're going to make sure that that monthly note does not go over what you want to be. This was Brandy. She was buying a house. We looked at a lot of houses before she settled in. Did great. I helped her sell that house a few months ago. So DocuSign, all the documents once we do find a house. I'll get your email, then I can email you the offers over. That way you can sign them on your email. They're super easy. Your home inspection, as soon as we get your contract signed, day one, I'm going to be calling that home inspector, scheduling the home inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 or 3 home inspectors now. If you want to call, just see which ones you like. That way, when we get your house under contract, I can go ahead and call him and get that set up. It usually takes 3 to 4 days. And inspection day, you can come, he'll go over the full inspection, and then he's going to email you the report with photographs. The negotiations, we can likely repair a lot of the stuff that he finds in that inspection bad. It's Mr. Liney, he came down from New York City. So home appraisal, the bank's going to order that. If you're a lender, we can't pick that appraiser. That bank's going to order the appraisal. And the process usually takes 5 to 7 days. We're not going to order that until the inspection process is complete. I'll help your lender I will help remind your lender, but just make sure to communicate with me anytime he asks for money, such as, hey, I need $600, $700 for an appraisal. Clear it with me. I want to make sure we're ready for that appraisal, because we do not want to buy an appraisal for a house that we find out that has a bad roof and we don't even end up buying. So what happens if the appraisal comes in low or high or dead on? So if that house comes on dead on or high, well, that's what we want, right? We want that equity. So the process will just move on smoothly. If it does not appraise for the sales price, well, that automatically cancels the contract. So don't panic. But we can usually get that seller to come down and meet us at that appraisal value. There could be some exceptions, such as some rotten wood or a broken window. Usually that seller will fix all those exceptions. So Updater, I'm going to fix you up. This will help you change your utilities, change your mailing address, and find local movers. You'll get those emails as soon as we go under contract. And then there's closing day. Be sure to bring your license and your smile, because we're going to take pictures. Buying a house is a big deal. It's going to be fun. So a lot of things are going to come up during that process when you say, Ryan, I like this house. That's when I really go into investigation mode. I'm going to make sure that the house is not in a flood zone. If there's foundation work, I want to know it, and we're going to know what happened. Is the work fixed? Hopefully it's not. Is the property zoned for what you want to do with it? And is there any boundary disputes or anything wrong? We want to know about it. And that's what I feel like I'm really good at if you choose me to work on your behalf. Now, I only work with about 4 buyers at one time. I have an opening for a buyer right now. We just closed one last week. So if you want to sign up and let me help you find a house, I can tell you, you're going to find a great house. So guys, that's how I pitch my buyer's presentation. And after that, I'm going to sign that person up on the doggone buyer's agent's agreement. And then I'm going to take that con out of loyalty. I'm not going to lose that client at an open house because they visited that and I didn't answer the phone or whatnot. So I feel like if you put forth the effort on the front end with your buyers, then they will not have a problem signing that buyer's agency agreement and letting you work with that buyer. All right, so your network, how are you going to help your buyers find a house if it's not on the MLS? Well, the office. Keep tabs on the listing agents. Give them a call. Give the Kimberlys, the Zacks, the Lee Jones, the Michael Colvins, and say, hey, what do you guys got coming up? The listing agents that are not in our office that work that area, give them a call and see what they have. When I was working Hardin's Gardens and Manships, I had agents calling me weekly. Got anything coming up, Manship? Don't laugh at Craigslist. People still post their houses. There's some cool house for rent right now on the reservoir for dirt cheap on Craigslist. And it's legit. I talked to the guy. Signage. If you know people in that area, call and let them know if they want it. It's a great way to work your sphere. Let's just say you've got somebody wanting to live in Cross Gates. Cross Gates is huge. I know 3 people live in Cross Gates. If I've looked at all the houses in Cross Gates and I don't see any houses, then I'm going to call my buddy John Nestler. John, what's going on big time? Look, man, I got somebody wanting to be in Cross Gates bad. I know you live in there. When you're going to work, whatever, if you see any signs that say for sale, shoot me a daggum picture, address, something. I've got to find these people a house. That's letting my old buddy John know that I'm working hard for my buyers. And you never know, but John may say, hey, man, I got, my nephew's looking for a house too. You think you can find him one? So that's letting your sphere know how hard you are working, and it's a great way to get more business. For sale by owners. Keep an eye out for Zillow. It's a great way to find your people the house. And then last resort is just send a postcard out to the neighborhood or call or get on the Facebook neighborhood page. That is a great way, by the way. So how are you going to prepare for your showing? You get a call, you've never met this person, or you may have met this person. Either way, you want to grab your buyer's presentation. You want to pull up the property down, print the little MLS sheet out. It's got all the realtor notes on it as well. Make sure you got a copy of the PCDS. Write down how you get into the house. You don't want to get to the house and start fumbling and trying to find the lockbox. I get calls at least 3 times a week with an agent in front of one of our houses trying to figure out how to get in. And then I'll look it up and it'll be right there in the realtor notes or in showing time. So be early, get to the home early, open the doors, fool with your lock boxes while the client's not there. Think safe, be ready. Home's age, these are the questions that I've learned that you need to know on every house. You need to have them highlighted because you're going to be asked, how old's this house? How old that roof is? How much is it? Wonder how many square feet this one is? Know the answers to those 4 questions. Expect anything. Y'all have seen some crazy stuff, and y'all probably have too. You never know what you're going to run into. Showing etiquette. This is just being a good dude. Is if you cancel a showing, in other words, if somebody says, Ryan, I can't make it, be sure to let that listing agent know. Don't let their client leave the house and not show up. Don't be a no-show. Not cool. If you do get there and their sign's a little crooked, straighten that thing up. Be a good dude. Leave feedback on what you think of the property, unless the client gives you permission to give their feedback. And just be honest with your feedback. Agents want to hear your honesty. It'll help them with their clients. So, guys, that is how I would work with a buyer. That's how, if somebody called me, I'm going to go out with my buyer's presentation. That's how I'm going to go over it. And I'm going to figure out, do I want to work with this person? Does it sound like we're going to have a successful and a decent transaction together? Or is he just tire kicking? I don't mind tire kicking as long as it don't go over 20 years or so. But is it just a hobby to look at houses, or is this person really going to buy? And what is his expectations? If he's looking for something that is just not findable, like a $200,000 5-bedroom house, 5,000 square foot in Madison, then I'm not wanting to waste my whole lot of my time with this person unless I can get his expectations down to where they're realistic. That's all I want, is somebody with realistic expectations that want to buy a house. Hey, after that, I can help you. I'm your guy, because I know that I feel like I know what a buyer wants, and that's just to find the right home. And I feel like I can do that. So be sure to write that value down in your language and your lingo when you're giving it. All right, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.